The Hunger Games is one of the most popular series in the world, and that got me thinking, what would it look like in Minecraft? I started by building a massive outline in the middle of the ocean, and quickly I got overwhelmed by looking at the sheer size of this. Oh no, I promised I was going to do quicker uploads. Yeah, keep wishing that, bud. So we're going to be building the arena from Catching Fire, and the rocks you see here will consist of a few different blocks. The first one being mud, and please tell me why it sounds like this. I don't know if I like this. Now for blackstone, I started mining off in the basalt deltas, but it was actually really inefficient. So my smart brain got an idea to mine it in a bastion, and absolutely nothing happened. It was a smooth experience. Oh my god. As I was saying, I next mined up some obsidian in the end. Now the easiest block on this list is deep slate, since I already have plenty from some off-camera mining. I just have to simply use the stone cutter to turn it into deep slate tiles. Alright, let's begin. I personally think this block palette looks fire. I can't wait to see what the clock arms are gonna look like. Oh wait, I need more blocks. We already ran out of 3 of the main blocks just building that alone, so let's make this quick. For mud, I built a tiny compact farm so that I can easily automate it. For blackstone, I set up a beacon in the nether. Oh, that's so much faster. Now for obsidian, well, there's not much we can do there. And we're still good for deep slate, since all of the so-called off-camera mining was just a slime farm I dug out at the start of the series. So just a few shulker boxes later, and we can continue building. The shape is starting to come along. I just don't have the bottom floor of where the water is supposed to be. But that's pretty simple, because throughout the video I've been designing it in a creative world and using the Lighmatica mod to show a hologram of where I need to place all the blocks, so I can see the materials what I have to build next. Wait, what does that say? But before we do that, we're doing a little side quest, which is building the cornucopia, or a simpler term, where you get the weapons at the start of the game. I just have to add said weapons along with some armor. Ooh, this is actually looking really nice. Wait a second, is that uneven? Yes, but I don't really want to talk about it. Getting back on track, we roughly need 14 shulker boxes of sandstone. If you didn't know, 1 sandstone can be crafted with 4 sand. So I AFK'd my gravity duper and spent way too long crafting the sandstone. Okay, so that is around half. I've just got to mine the rest. Let's reset the bar, because we now need 4 shulker boxes of endstone. And the mayor just came up with my smartest plan yet. In the middle of the end island, if you spawn a wither and attack it, it would chase you and break all the blocks around it. Okay, that was actually pretty fun, but I completely underestimated how much the wither has to break. So I tried again, this time making the wither break a lot more blocks until I had enough. Alright, that is a lot of blocks, let's just get to building. Now it's looking a little dry, so I placed down some dirt, then covered the top with water, and simply removed the dirt so that the water could fall and fill in the space. Now that was 1 out of 12 spaces done. So with my editing magic, 3, 2, 1, boom, all of the water's there, guys. Yeah, yeah, right. Now I'm not really a fan of this water, so to fix that, I started building the platform of where the players begin the game. I then used all of my bones to bone meal the floor to give it some life. Now we need to blend what we just built into land, so once again I collected more materials like sand and stone, and well, a lot. Because we're going to be building a beach, so pretty straightforward, I placed a layer of stone so that the sand could be held up. And I took my time placing the sand because this next part is going to take forever to collect the materials. Wait, what do you mean? I need 36,000 moss, 36,000 lime terracotta, 11,000 dirt, 8,000 stone, and 6,000 andesite. Well, looks like I won't be uploading in May. You see, all of these materials is needed to fill in the rest of the terrain. So to make sure we have a speedy start, I'm going to get straight to collecting, beginning with moss. I decided to see how much I could get by hand in 30 minutes. But sadly, this method wasn't good enough for a larger scale. So may I introduce to you the moss block farm. This baby can produce roughly 4,000 moss blocks per hour. And the best thing is that it's self-sustainable, because some of the moss goes into a composter, then turns into bone meal, which I then reuse. And while I AFK, I'm going to multitask by also mining all the required stone, and when that's done, I'm just going to fully focus on moss. Now since I need over 36,000 terracotta, I started experimenting in creative. Okay, so it turns out that when mud is dried out, it becomes clay, and you can smelt that clay into terracotta. But this isn't gonna work since it will just take too long. Now after looking through the internet, the only other way is mining. So I stole my beacon and set it up in the Badlands. I now need to make all of the terracotta lime. Now you're gonna notice that there's gonna be a bit of a pattern because the remaining 2 blocks are basically small fillers in the build. So I just simply mined them up, and it was actually a pretty relaxing process. But finally, after unloading all of the materials, it was time to build. Now although that took 6 hours, something that's going to take longer is trees. To be exact, I want to have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 3 types of trees, with the first one being a custom palm tree, but we need a lot more than that. So I AFK'd at my tree farm until I had half a shulker box of jungle logs, but that was undoubtedly the easiest since we now need 3 shulker boxes of jungle leaves. So I prepared an entire shulker box of shears and physically abused my local jungle until I had all of the materials. So I started building the palm trees one by one, but this is probably the easiest tree out of them all because the remaining 2 trees all require saplings, starting with just over 600 jungle saplings. With a max diamond hoe, let's see how much we can get before we have to mend it. And the result was just under half of the required saplings. So let's repair it and mine out the rest. Now at this point you're probably wondering, surely there's another way, right? No, this here is the fastest and most efficient way to get saplings. Luckily, it's really easy. So I already have the rest of the jungle saplings. And back at the build, every gold block you see is 1 jungle sapling, and every diamond block you see is 1 dark oak sapling. Yeah, dark oak might take a while. But until then, I placed every jungle sapling. And while that's growing, we just need over 3,500 dark oak saplings. And since editing this is boring, let's try something different. And an entire forest later, we have all of it. Alright, let's get to placing. Hey, if you're really enjoying this video, then maybe consider subscribing. I'm currently at 500 subs and I'm trying to reach 1,000 as soon as possible. So if you want to help out, I would appreciate it more than you know. And wow, this looks insane, even with all of the trees not grown. But we don't need to worry about that because they'll grow within the next 3 stages of this video. Starting with stage 1, which is fixing this ugly back. And all of the chests I just placed down are for all of the materials to make this build look like a rocky island. Starting with deep slate, which I needed to mine up since I didn't have any spare. Now stage 2 is to build important details and Easter eggs from the series. For example, this hovercraft that plays a key role in catching fire. And while I unload the deep slate, I'll tell you about stage 3, which is building this massive dome that you can see here. But until then, we now need both stone and cobblestone, so it's about time we upgrade the old cobblestone farm. This new design is roughly equivalent to 6 of the old designs running at once, but this one is fully AFKable. Now with all of this cobblestone, we can transport it and cook it up, but this design actually sucks. Well, looks like a future problem for me. Anyway, that's the last of the materials, so I suppose let's bring the cinematic style back. Now this looks a lot better. I've just got to connect it with gravel to make it look more realistic. Yep, stage 1 is officially complete. So now it's time to get key moments and details from the series and add it to the build. And if you couldn't guess it already, that includes both the first and second series, just because they are the most iconic ones and they both take place mostly in the arena. Now by using a texture pack, we can make the sweet berries blueberries, which makes this our first detail that takes place in the 74th Hunger Games, where Katniss and Peter use poisonous berries which they threatened to eat, meaning there would be no victor at all, and this smart plan made them both win. Now this was 1 out of 6 details that we're building, and they only get harder as the video goes on. Next, we're building another simple one, which is Rue's Memorial, built by Katniss also in the 74th Hunger Games. This is an important moment in this series because without Rue, Katniss would have died, and some say this is what helped spark the fire in the second rebellion. But now we need to build something from both Hunger Games and Catching Fire, and that is sponsors. Tributes can get sponsorships from rich citizens of the capital, which can supply them with useful gifts that can potentially help them win the game. But now it's time for the last detail from the 74th Games, which is the this big pile of goodies. And I'm not joking, that's what they said in the series.
Big pile of goodies.
We've also got to rig some TNT around it, just like what some of the tributes did to protect their items in the series. And that leaves us with 2 final details that happen to be the biggest ones yet. First, we need to destroy some trees to build another tree, and I just realized that sounds kinda stupid. Now by placing lightning rods and chains, we can make it look like the lightning tree from Catching Fire, which would endure a lightning storm that would strike exactly 12 times every 12 hours, and this tree played a major role in the games. But something that also played a major role is for hovercraft. Now compared to some previous details, we actually need to spend some time collecting some materials, then cut them up in the grindstone. Along with that is a few miscellaneous items, and while I build it, I'll tell you why it's so important. During the games, it was used to transport all of the tributes to the arena at once. However, it's more important in Catching Fire, since it was used to pick up all of the bodies of the dead tributes. But most of all, it was used in the plan to get Katniss out of the arena to District 13, which leads us into the Mockingjay. And with that built, I can officially say that Stage 2 is complete, which leads us into Stage 3, which is the dome, that will be fully built out of glass since it looks cool and will let sunlight in. The only downside is that we need over 190,000 glass, and this is what that looks like. Yeah, this is gonna suck. Luckily, it's pretty simple, just quite time consuming, so I first once again AFK'd at my gravity duper, but I actually needed to fill up all of these chests twice, and once that was done, it was all dumped back to where the glass is supposed to go, which leads us into our main problem, which is turning all of the sand into glass, and the fastest way to do that is to build a super smelter. This design here is pretty good, however, we need to AFK for a while, so and just a few chests later, we can actually transport all of the glass to the build site. Wow, it's finally happening. After working on this project for the last 2 months, it was time to build the last stage of this video. So all I can say is thank you so much for watching and enjoy.